That's interesting to know.
There is that. Do we have an owlbear for tonight?
We have an owlbear every night.
It's the same as what it was last week.
Okay.
The week before last, you
Here.
didn't run last week.
Before last week, you're right.
It
It's the same link
translated
every
to
week.
is there an Albert for tonight, and all I thought of was the piercing. So there's that.
The what?
Oh, Prince Albert?
You said it's the same one we
The
used
caption
last
said.
week, so give me just a moment.
Yeah, it's pinned in the out of character chat.
Yep, I just need to adjust a thing.
Not getting to the race tonight. It can go in the fridge.
Where is it?
It's in the fridge.
No, I mean the owlbear thing isn't showing up.
I told you it's in the fucking fridge.
The owlbear is in the fridge. Got it.
Okay. Okay, here's what we're going
Now-
to do.
Now that you
Do.
understand, I don't have to be angry.
No coffee. Fish!
What?
Out of character. I
Hmm?
just dropped a link for you.
Yeah, that's the one I'm in. Yeah. But for some reason, my window capture can't. Oh, there it is. About fucking time you showed up, bastard.
Are we working? You good? You good?
For the moment, yeah, it's working. Okay.
God, I
Bring
love this pipe.
up, Turn this
He
off.
was out getting a McDonald's shake. Let him the fuck be.
Okay. We are actually already recording, so there's that.
Okay.
I'm gonna be alright because I'm also eating food. And with that, Jeb, why don't you start us out?
Okay. Well, welcome back to another adventure inside the world of Orland. Tonight, we are featuring the group in our campaign titled Orland Episode 4, A New Threat. Our group of adventurers have traveled to the forgotten kingdom of Illyrium. Last session, they came across the large 120-foot tall gates of the Forgotten Kingdom. And inside the open gates, they saw a very large, ancient black dragon. Standing next to the dragon, they saw a couple of characters. And one of our stealthy members, Raiden, decided to sneak up and listen in on the conversation, getting a boost from the other stealthy character, Zeos, who cast invisibility on him. Raiden was able to discover that the two characters standing next to the ancient black dragon were none other than the Raven King himself, who they have been searching after, as well as a character that they weren't entirely sure who he was, but his name was Orland. After listening to the conversation, Raiden understood that the Raven King had become aware that they were there. And so the Raven King, Auron, and the dragon left the city. And it was then that the characters decided to go on a pilfering spree, looting every single house, every single building that they could find anything of value in. Two of the characters left off in the library while the rest explored the city. We do have a little bit of retconning to do from last session because I was unaware of one of the characters' abilities, and the player of said character was not in the session last time. So when you guys were investigating the statue, you noticed the writing at the base of the statue was in a language that you did not recognize. And you had made the assumption that this may be a forgotten language. Sorla,
Mhm.
you would have been able to read the writing at the base of the statue thanks to your Eyes of the Runekeeper warlock ability.
Yes.
So the retcon is you read at the base of this statue, it read Vidar, hero of, pretty much letting you guys know that that statue was a depiction of Vidar. Sorla and Warren were left in the massive library, and that is where we are going to pick up our game tonight. Now that Dutchy is back and able to play Sorla,
Mhm.
the rest of your party is out exploring the city, having just left you and Warren inside this library. Sorla, you came to tears as it essentially was a dream come true for you to see so many sources of potential knowledge. What are you guys doing as your group is pilfering the city?
Pilfering the library.
Okay.
First things first, I think. So if we find anything on the people of this city, if we find anything on the Raven King, if we find anything on any of the old gods that we don't have records of, if we find anything that might be a personal interest to me of monsters and mayhem that we might be able to read up on and figure out what the hell we're doing about. Um, you know, the standards. And, maybe also a dictionary so others can learn how to read this.
Okay. Sorla, is there anything specific outside of what Warren just mentioned that you are searching for?
Um, Outside of what he mentioned, which obviously we're going to be looking for that stuff, I also want to look for books that have historical information that would not be found outside of this specific library, like stuff that would have been lost to time.
Fair enough. Okay. So, Sola, you were able to read the titles of the books as you're searching through this library. So, I would like you to make an investigation roll. Warren, you are not able to read any of the titles, as all of the languages on these books are foreign to you. So I would like you to make an investigation roll with disadvantage, please.
Since I normally have advantage because of some of the subjects that I mentioned, would this even out? I'll accept a no. I just figured I'd put that out there.
So you have advantage on investigation checks to recall information about Fae, fiends, or
Recall.
undead from Hunter's Bane.
Recall. That's the word that I'm missing. Never mind. We're good.
Can I assist him?
Not really, because you guys are making two separate checks. Like Sorla, you're actually looking at the titles of the books themselves. So you would not really be able to assist Warren in being able to search on his own.
Mine was an 18.
An 18.
Starting off
And
with an 18. Again, that's my number this week, apparently.
and I rolled better than I thought. I got a 13.
Okay.
I'm sad I wasted a nat 20 for this. Then again, I'll take the 10.
Warren, as you
Yes.
are stepping deeper into this library, you see spread out across one of the reading tables a map that you're somewhat able to recognize. But you notice that the geographical layout is somewhat different than the continent that you are familiar with. And I am posting a copy of this map inside the in-game notes for campaign 2. On this map, you see that several of the islands that you know and are familiar with are part of the main continent. And you find markings showing different locations spread throughout the continent. You see the marking for the Kingdom of Illyrium inside the heart of the Dragontooth Mountains. But you also see other large settlements. One almost in the area of where Alinar is today. A kingdom known as Militarist. You see another one to the east of there named Orthanc. And that kind of strikes your memory, as you know that the approximate location of that is where the Orthanc Desert currently resides. In the eastern part of the Dragontooth Mountain Range, you see another marker labeled Shadowcroft. And in the southern part of the continent, you see one labeled Dragonport. You see several other smaller settlements. In the northwest part of the continent, you see the name Argenhelm. Closer to the Dragontooth Mountains, you see the city or the town of Westwind. In the eastern part of the continent, you see a town called Amberwall. And in the southwestern part, you see a town called Salisbury. Sorla,
Yep.
roll a D100, please.
Oh boy. 18. I'm not kidding.
You need to go buy a lottery ticket and put
Right?
18.
Okay.
I rolled the big guy. I didn't roll the two separate ones.
Okay. You come across an interesting book that does not have a title on it. It is a leather-bound book, but on the binding has ornate gold decorations to it. And as you open up this book, you see that this appears to be some sort of spell book. As you are flipping through the pages, you see spells that you are unfamiliar with.
And Solar's never leaving.
Bag of holding. Woo.
Uh, how much space do you have left in your bag of holding, Warren?
Since we're carrying chests or dragging them, I should say. Let me go look.
So we're just gonna search the library for her bag of holding.
Roughly 115 pounds left
115 pounds left. Okay.
without us using anything.
Each book weighs approximately 5 pounds, based off of stats that I pulled from D&D Beyond.
Just start
So,
shoveling books into it.
Sorla, are you taking the time to read this spell book, or are you going to continue looking for other books?
I'm gonna keep looking. That
Okay.
spell book's going right in my bag.
Sorla and Warren, please make me another investigation check. Warren, yours will be a disadvantage for all of these checks.
yep. That is an 8.
17.
Damn!
Sorla, roll me a d100.
Should I just leave the big boy out?
I mean, that's entirely up to you.
64.
Sorla, you come across a book titled Giant Flowers, Friend or Foe. Warren, you're browsing, but you're not really seeing anything that is catching your eye, considering you're not able to read the languages. So you're looking more for books that have interesting covers to them. But you're not finding anything in the section that you're exploring currently.
Fair.
Sorla, are you flipping through the book that you just found, or are you continue searching?
I'll probably just, as I find books, quick little flip to see if there's anything that's gonna pop out, and then keep going.
Okay. So this book seems to be a herbologist's guide to giant flowers and whether or not there's anything useful to them, whether or not they're worth your time, whether or not they could potentially be dangerous if they started mutating and become sentient.
Okay.
Do you guys continue searching?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, make me another investigation.
You do realize this is Sorla. She's not leaving. All right, that was an 11.
Okay.
That is a 22. I am taking a picture.
Okay.
It's not two 20s, but
You roll
I
two 18s?
a 19 and a 20.
Both of you roll me D100, please.
Dude.
A
18.
2.
An 18 again.
I
Roll
think
me
I just
another.
I think I just
Right.
time traveled. I hit 88.
Do you want me to roll it again?
Yes, roll it again, please.
Okay. Mm, 95? Yeah, 95.
Okay. Give me just one sec. Sorla, you find a book that has a heavy clasp brought to look like angel wings. The wings are clasped to keep the book's contents secured. Warren,
Okay.
I know it's harder when the person can't read the book to give them a description.
yes, you find a book that catches your eye, but for a completely different reason. This is a very plain looking book in a section that the bindings all seem to be rather fancy. You see several that are trimmed in gold, several that are trimmed in silver. Um, but this book is plain. Just the most basic looking leather bound book that you see in this entire section.
Would it help if he asked me to read at least the titles when he finds a book?
That is entirely up to you and him. I guess a better question would be, are you guys searching separate sections or are you searching together?
I think
Probably.
for the first minute or two, it would be separate sections, and then Warren goes, "This is stupid. I can't read any of them anyway. I should just be looking near her." And head over.
Okay. Do you take the basic book that you found with you?
Oh fuck yes.
Okay. As you pick the book up and you begin walking over to Sorla,
Hmm.
you notice that the book does not feel quite heavy enough.
I gotta open it.
You open it, and about 10 pages, um, 10 pages are blank. But as you flip through those pages, you come across a section of the book that the pages themselves have been carved out a square right in the middle of the pages to give a hidden cavity inside of this book. And inside of this cavity, you see a ring. This ring, the best that you can tell, is finely crafted. And as you pull it out of the book and you look closer, you see that it has delicate bands of silver vines and ivy leaves that are impossibly interwoven together, tapering outwards to meet a circular mounting. The mounting is inlaid with a band of obsidian, within which are set 8 moonstones that depict the main phases of the moon. You see that inside of this setting is a signet seal, and the seal of the ring itself is an ornately cut black emerald, within which is an 8 pointed mithril star that looks as though it has been infused with magic.
Yes.
He's gonna open his jacket and tuck it into a pocket. Figure that out later. Really quick, flip to the end of the book, see if anything is also there, because I don't know why, but every time somebody finds a hollowed out book, they never check any of the other pages.
You don't find anything else interesting about this book.
More than fair, but it's a simple chance. And I know I've done it. So, yeah, he holds the book for a second and then he puts it in his regular backpack.
Okay. You get back over to the section where you see Sorla at, and you begin checking the shelves near where she is searching. Another investigation roll, please.
Can I just be giving her advantage with just so that we can make it a little bit easier since my
Sure.
rolls are a disadvantage?
Sure.
Like, this one smells different. That one looks different. Why does that one have a picture of a... Well, we're not saying that right now.
And it took the turn left.
All right,
All
so
right.
Sorla, another investigation, please.
18.
And roll me a d100.
48.
You find a book titled A History of Elves.
It's going to be interesting considering this is, thousands of years ago. Okay.
Close to the
Again.
beginning.
Nat 20.
All right. Roll me two d100s and give me the results separately, please.
Okay. $83 and 54.
Okay. You find a couple books that Warren catches a different scent on. You pull the first book off the shelf and you see a title, How Green is My Goblin? The second book you find is titled The Ultimate Guide to Creature Harvesting.
Ew.
You read that one out loud?
Yep.
Warren puts it in his bag.
Okay.
Okay.
And does
What was that?
Warren mention that they smell different?
Yeah.
Can you tell why?
The book titled How Green is My Goblin has a musky smell to it. The Guide to Creature Harvesting as you kind of flip through the pages, you see stains on some of the pages
Oh,
that
gross.
Warren Warren has a kind of idea that they may have been left by
The
bloody
harvested
hands,
creature.
considering it is a guide to harvesting parts from a creature. It looks as though it's a field guide, and parts of it may have been written by somebody who had
Was in the
just
act.
harvested a creature, was in the act of it. Yes.
Okay.
Next investigation roll.
16. So got
Uh,
for advantage because that was a 2.
D100.
36.
You find a book titled Book on Gods of the World.
You want to hold on to that one for Fenris, or you want me to take it?
For Fenris.
I mean, for you, but also he's the one that was trying to drudge up the gods.
Can we read it?
I
Yeah.
don't know that Warren has ever met Fenris.
Sorry, I said Fenris. I meant
Raven.
sorry. Yes.
I think I'll hold on to it, and I think I'm going to take a skim through it as well
Okay.
into the bag, and then
You Oh, I'm sorry. I had the title of that wrong. The title is actually Deities of Wisteria.
okay.
And Wisteria is spelled Wysteria. And as
Okay.
you browse through this book, you find an account on the deities of Wisteria, including their domains and the appearance that they normally take when dealing with mortals.
Sounds like you got some nighttime reading there.
Indeed.
Next investigation roll, please.
Yep. So let me finish writing that out. Okay. I'm just gonna send this to me.
Yep.
I think, yeah. This is what advantage does.
Yes. Yes, it does.
That is another nat 20.
Okay. 2D100s, please.
Okay.
Now imagine if you roll 2d20 or 2 nat 20s.
32. Oh my god, right? 16.
16 for the first one.
No, 32 was the first one.
32 and 16. Okay.
Mhm.
You're just gonna wipe out the bottom of that die.
You could see me trying to
Okay.
read it, and I've got my glasses on.
You find two different books, one titled Biology of a Beast,
Handing it to Warren.
That's disappointing.
and the second one is a large black leather-bound
Ooh.
book with silver trim that is titled Illyrium, a History.
I'm gonna just skim through it for a minute. You said Illyrium,
Oh,
Yes.
a history.
I was wrong on how much was in my bag of holding. I was reading it the wrong way around. I have much more than 150 or 23 books worth of space.
Sorla, are you taking your time in what you're reading inside this book, or are you just kind of speed reading and skimming?
I am skimming to see if anything hops out at me that would call my attention.
You skim through this book and you find that it is indeed a history of the city, the kingdom of Illyrium.
Eyes light up a
You
little bit.
you find a certain paragraph does stand out to you as you're reading it, and you read the following. Excuse me. They traded this alloy with the dwarves of Shadowcroft, who called the alloy true metal and valued it greatly. Thus, the wealth of the Dalmatian tieflings began to grow. They built a city around the caverns, naming it Illyria, after their leader, the one who had led the clan out of persecution and into prosperity. They named Illyria their king, and the city state was named Illyrium after him.
You're gonna post that, right? In the game notes.
Yeah, one sec.
Okay. Just because that's a lot to write that fast. Okay.
Hey, Jeb.
Uh,
Jeb, did you see Eric's message?
I did. I replied to him. He sent it to me in private as well.
Okay. Yeah, he also left the server.
Yeah, his schedule just isn't lining up.
Yeah.
it's disappointing.
Regrettable, but understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next investigation roll, please.
15,
What was that?
15, 1, 5.
Okay. D100.
Mm-hmm. 75.
75. You find a book titled How to Make a Lantern Out of a Skull.
Okay.
Next investigation.
It's not good. That's just an 8.
Okay. You guys have scoured through this section and you don't find anything else of interest in the particular section that you're in. You move on
Moving.
to the next section and continue searching.
30-20.
Okay, D100.
30.
What was that?
30.
Okay. You find a book titled The Five Kingdoms of Wisteria.
Ooh, eyes light up. Skim it real quick. Moving on.
Okay, you see that it is uh, just like a brief guide to each of the five different kingdoms with a brief history on each. Next investigation.
D20 again.
Okay. Your D100, please.
79.
$79. You find sitting on a shelf in between two large books that has an oversized amethyst gemstone set into dark iron.
I can hold on to it while we keep looking. Stuffs it into the same pocket as the ring.
Okay. Next investigation.
11.
Huh?
11.
11.
Yep.
And a D100.
55.
55.
Wait, no, it's a 56. Sorry.
56.
Yep.
Okay. You find a green book with interesting orange trim titled Humble Handbook of Herbology.
It's a regular
Unless,
herbology book.
I mean, unless you are interested, I'll take it.
Okay. So is it just a regular book, or when I skim through it, there's nothing jumping out, right?
As you skim through this book, you read the first paragraph, and it gives a description that reads, "The humble art of herbalism, otherwise known as traditional medicinal or folk medicine, is a discipline that seeks to understand the properties and effects of natural substances and how to use them to create medicines with healing properties and other beneficial effects. It is the oldest healing modality, practiced since the beginning of recorded history. Many modern disciplines, including alchemy and learned spellcasting, stand on the shoulders of herbalism. In this book, you will learn the fundamentals of herbalism, including ways to identify and categorize the useful parts of plants, fungi, and creatures, and traditional methods of preparing various ointments, salves, teas, and tonics. This book also provides a detailed list of all the medicines known or studied at the Medical College of Militarist. Those interested in the healing arts often go to the college where herbalism is the first subject studied."
Okay. Hands it off to Warren. Next is a 14. And 6-0.
A 14 with a 60. You find a book titled Alchemist's Companion.
Okay. Guide to Alchemy.
Yes, and you see that it was penned by the same author who wrote the Humble Handbook of Herbology.
Hand that one off to Warren. Next.
Can you say that title one more time?
Alchemist's
Alchemist's
Companion.
Companion.
Not 20.
All right.
Did I give you 86 already? No, I think I gave you 68.
You gave me an 88 earlier.
Okay, so that's an
I
86 this time.
All right, so 86, and I still didn't catch
Right,
that.
it's 2. 71.
71.
Mhm.
The first book, you chuckle as you read the title, knowing who one of your companions are. The book is titled Counting to 10 for Orcs. The second
right.
book is titled Plants and Fungi of the Realms.
Not finding anything interesting when I'm flipping through those, right?
As you flip through it, you find that this book offers brief descriptions on plants and the various plants used in herbalism.
Yep. Okay. Dirty 20. 62.
Okay. Were you handing that book to Warren as well?
Yeah.
Okay. 62. You find a book titled 1001 Things Not to Do Underground.
Number 1 is fight a bullet. Number 2 is fight a purple worm.
We
Skim
fought a
through
bullet
nothing
undergrad.
crazy.
Huh?
Skim through it. Don't find anything crazy.
Nothing crazy. You find a lot of amusing inserts that you would say that's common sense. But clearly
Guys,
somebody has done it. Otherwise, it would not be recorded in a book such as this.
I can't. Hold on.
Don't insult an entire clan of dwarves who are mining right next to you.
One insert is be careful, be mindful of your surroundings when swinging a pickaxe.
Look at the
Don't
roll
bring-
again.
I feel like that's a jab at me.
It is.
It's a
It's
jab
okay.
at it's jabbing a couple different people, but
It's
I'm
another
excited.
20 and 3.
Yep. Yep.
next investigation.
Looking out of character.
It's another one. 20 and
But
3.
the fact that they're both the same. All right. 51.
Jeez.
Kind of like my night the other night when I rolled 2 20s
Mm-hmm.
together.
42.
51 and 42.
We finally have the answer.
The first book you find is titled The Myth of the Useful Bard. The second book you find is simply titled The Eye of the Oracle.
Oh.
Oh.
Looking in there.
You know, Zeos wants to know about that.
Are you just skimming through it? Are you taking your time and carefully reading?
I'm going to skim, but I'm going to look a little closer at that one.
Okay, so you read the following. Excuse me. Of the, and I apologize, I misspoke. I said book. This is a scroll. Of the many obscure artifacts known to Wisteria, none is more unique than the Eye of the Oracle. The Eye was a powerful artifact said to have been created by the sister goddesses Fira, goddess of light and prophecy, and Vatun, goddess of fate and destiny. The sisters took a stone from the Dragontooth Mountains and, using their divine energy, shaped it so that it was perfectly round and small enough to fit comfortably in one's hand. They then engraved their symbol into the stone so that the lidless eye and star of prophecy would forever be visible to distinguish the eye from any normal stone. Finally, they imbued their divine energy into the stone, causing it to possess a faint glow and slight warmth. You see that the scroll continues on. Do you continue reading or do you continue searching?
It's a scroll, so I'm going to read it.
Okay. Then give me just one sec.
And you'll post that one too, right?
Yep, that's actually what I
Okay.
was just starting.
Perfect.
The scroll continues on. The sister goddesses gifted this artifact to the first known seer, Zatara, a Kalishtar of great wisdom that had gained the favor of the sister goddesses by preventing the fall of the city of Militrist to the attack from Orthanc. She, along with Vidar, son of Pathos,
What?
had negotiated the peace treaty that ended the war between the two cities. The Eye of the Oracle seemed to grant Zatara several benefits. Zatara, being an elderly Kalishtar, seemed to regain her youthful beauty. It is unknown how long she would live, for with every year that has passed, Zatara has seemingly grown younger instead of older. It is also rumored that the Eye has increased her intellect and insight, giving her the power to divine into one's soul. Another rumor is that the Eye has given her the ability to glimpse into the future, although the validity of this rumor is highly debated. One argument against this idea: had she been able to prophesize the future, she would have seen the destruction of Dragonport and Illyrium. This would have allowed the Knights of the Dragon Order to either better prepare for the attack on Dragonport or determine it was a lost cause and stayed to safeguard Illyrium. A counter-argument to this: perhaps her ability to glimpse the future was limited, in that she could only glimpse a short period of time ahead of the present. Or perhaps her power was limited by distance, and she could not foresee events occurring across the continent. The debate of this topic has become a moot point, however. Zatara has refused my interview for this article, choosing to isolate herself from society for her failures involving the Tiamat attacks on Illyrium and Orthanc, suggesting she possibly indeed foresaw the attacks, but did nothing to prevent them. She was last seen in Shadowcroft a little over a year ago. None have seen her since.
Okay. Sorla will pick her jaw up off the ground and put the scroll in her bag and keep looking.
I'ma just keep that.
13.
Excuse me. Roll me a D100.
Hold on, I'm just looking. I can't tell if that's a 98 or a 30. Hold on. That is a 98. You?
You find a book that is humming with magical energy. And as you skim through the book, you see that the book contains intuition and insight exercises, and its
Ooh.
words are charged with magic.
Into her bag. And rolling again. Dirty 20. Thank God, because that wasn't that one on the other dice. 54.
$54. You find a large black book with gold trim, whose title is in gold writing. It reads, Vidar, Hero of Wisteria.
Into her bag.
What's that?
Quick skimming into her bag.
She puts it into her bag.
Quick skim through it, and then she'll put it in her bag. Yeah.
Quick skim. Okay. She reads, Herein lies the biography of Vidar, son of Pathos, bane of Tiamat, as written by the historian Carthos Corvus. And as you skim through it, you see that it is indeed a biography of Vidar.
Okay. A 4.
You guys have found all of the books inside several sections that stood out to you or to Warren's senses.
Okay.
Just have a thought. All this leather and paper and parchment, yet there were still some things that were metal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can see if I can sniff out some of the metal, see if there's other things. Can't read it. Can't
Excuse me.
read the books, but maybe there's other artifacts around here.
All right.
And he takes a moment and starts sniffing for metal.
Okay. Roll me your investigation check.
That is 14.
Okay. You find a lot of books inside this library. Have bindings and trim of the same metal scents that you've smelled on some of the books that you have found already.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that you see that it was a common practice back in the time of Illyrium. And you're not able to really distinguish the importance of one book from another based off
That's
of
fair.
this smell.
That's more than fair. His thought process was less about the books and more, well, if I can't help with the books, we found a couple of artifacts here. Maybe I can help find others by the fact that they wouldn't have the smell of parchment and leather on them.
Okay. Then go ahead and roll me a D100.
That is a 100, sir.
A 100.
Been a while since I just flat rolled one.
You find a section of the library, and almost at random, you pick out one of the books. And as Sorla reads the title, I just lost my place. Sorla finds the book in this section is titled Guide to Untraceable Poisons. And Warren, you find a small box that is trimmed on the corners with the same kind of metal you found trimming some of the books. And it has a latch made of this same alloy.
Starting to figure that alloy is some of that true metal that she had talked about.
Your roll me a history check.
Sorry, I was writing untraceable poisons into the
You're fine.
book. Okay, history. That is 19, sir.
In one of the lore books that you read in the Brotherhood Keep, that true metal is the name that dwarves use for mithril. And based off of your understanding of mithril, especially after it has been refined, you're able to tell that the bindings and the alloy that is used is not mithril in this library.
That's fair. Is it a lot heavier?
It's not heavy. You're talking about the alloy itself or the
Yeah.
box?
The alloy.
The alloy, it's not much heavier. It kind of has the consistency of iron, but it's not quite the same weight or the same look or the same density of iron.
Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah, gonna start picking up the box, see if it is heavy or light.
The box itself is medium weight for a wooden box. It's only about 6 inches by 6 inches, but it is about 10 inches in depth. You do notice that even though it has a clasp on it, it is not locked.
I'm not gonna shake it. I'm gonna carefully unlatch it and open it slowly.
Okay, roll me a d6, please.
That would be a 5, sir.
Sorla's gonna look over. You sure you don't want me to do that with Mage Hand?
Sorla looked up from books to ask that question.
Sorla's checking the shelves still.
God, we're all gonna
Sorla's going through
die.
those shelves, man. Ravenous.
Warren, you find 5 vials, small vials, that have a almost luminous green substance, green liquid inside of it.
Just picking one up and moving it slightly. Is it fully liquid? Is it slightly sludgy? Is it viscous?
It's rather viscous. It has a similar consistency to other vials that you have on your possession that contain poison.
I think this and that book about poisons that can't be detected are going to be a match made in heaven. This was a little worthwhile endeavor. We take some of this over to one of the tables. I'm gonna actually check all the different tables, see if there's anything else on them. Found a map over there of the wall before we ever knew it, and I'll bring that over to the table that we choose. I'm gonna check all the other tables and bring what I find over as well. Let you start studying.
Okay, go ahead and make me another investigation roll.
That would be nat 20 for 23.
Okay, and roll me a d100.
37, sir.
Okay. You find stretched across one end of one of these tables
Sorrel's
a
bag of holding.
no a a hard leather apron, and next to this apron is another copy of the ultimate manual for ultimate guide to creature harvesting. You see this leather apron is made from a rather tough, thick leather, but one that's light enough that it allows for some flexibility. And you see that it is reinforced with rivets in certain crucial areas, such as like around the straps, the base of the straps for the neck strap, around the straps for the waist strap.
Give it a couple of good sniffs and stretch it a little bit and see if it is just really good material or if I am picking anything arcane, occult, or otherwise up. Hell, I'll even lick it.
Okay. Um, since you nat 20 for this check, um, you're able to tell that this leather apron does have a magical quality to it. It is very quality leather. And when you scratch it with a nail, you see that it leaves just a very slight trace of your fingernail from where it scratched it, but not enough that it would be noticeable to Sorla, who is a short distance away from you at this point.
Okay. And I'm just going to bring the pile of things that I've gathered off of the other tables and lay them on one side. Take out the couple of things that I have put in the pocket for us to figure out. And I'm gonna.
Hold on.
Yep.
Jeb, before we start looking at this stuff, I want to check like any of the shelves that like are against walls. I want to check behind them, and I want to check like any like underneath tables or desks that are there.
Okay, and what are you checking for?
Anything that would be worth hiding.
I was half expecting you to say secret passages.
That too.
Okay,
Moving bookcases.
then roll me an investigation check. No longer with advantage since Warren is checking a different area.
Still got an 18.
Okay. Roll me a d8
Okay. 2.
and a d100.
Where's that?
You pull a book off the shelf and the entire library explodes.
Kaboom. The end.
That would be horrible.
47.
Checking under the tables, just finding gobs of
Gum.
ancient gum.
Oh, and I knew you were going to go there. It's like a bad bus seat.
Even worse, she finds snakes fornicating.
Why'd it have to be snakes? No,
Would you rather it be rather large spiders?
Yes, at this point.
Man-eating spiders.
I'll put it this way. Warren has no problem pulling extra limbs off of things.
Oh, God. What if it has no limbs?
And there's not really somebody in the party who's deathly afraid of spiders, so.
Who's afraid of spiders?
Not spiders, the other
Yeah.
thing that you mentioned earlier.
I know, that's why I said that that's what she found.
That's horrible.
I can't
Okay.
hear her at all.
Yeah, I can't hear her either. You don't
Probably have
find
muted.
Be glad, Dutchie. Be glad.
Sorla, you don't find any secret passages, any hidden doorways behind a bookshelf or any of that such. But you do find a set of half plate armor that appears to have been made out of mithril. It is on one of the desks, and it has several papers next to it that is just has notes on it as if somebody were studying the armor. You've got several like spy glasses where they may have been trying to zoom in and look at the uh, individual links and rivets of the half plate while they were studying it.
I'm gonna grab the notes and I'm grabbing the spy glasses. Going over to Warren. These could be useful.
You're not wrong. What'd you have over there?
Half plate armor?
You know what?
Think you can
I'll,
fit that into your bag?
I I really do. I figure between your studies and the two of us and a pile of magic items, we could have a very fun time while they're all just searching the city and robbing it blind.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So I pull over the mithril armor and we just start looking through, identifying stuff and letting her study.
Okay. So at this point, you guys are sitting down and beginning to study. It's been several hours, and the rest of the group is now returning to the library. You guys walk in, and you find
I'll buy.
and Warren at a couple different tables next to each other with books stacked up next to each other, as well as several other interesting pieces.
You guys seem to be having fun.
Waves without looking up.
Found a couple of things. Evidently her eyes are the best of the bunch. She can actually read all this.
Oh. Well, that is good.
And while
We
she's at that, we found a couple other things that I've been digging at and seeing what I can figure out about.
we found a couple things as well. At least I did, and I'm sure the others did as well.
One or two other items.
Yeah, just one or two.
I mean, if it's anything truly special between several of us, we're gonna be able to identify everything. So toss them on the tables. Let's take a night to truly dig into all this.
You read my mind. And he will start putting his stuff on the tables.
Did you guys find a good kitchen for us to cook in?
I mean, all the houses have kitchens.
We can go to the house right outside the door here and set up camp there.
It's kind of what I was figuring. We've got a good spot here to do all of our work, and then we camp in one of the houses where we can actually cook a bunch of that meat that we made, or that we got from the bullet. And
That you guys smoked.
yeah, we can do a finishing on cooking. Because smoked is good on its own, but if you cook it again, it becomes very succulent.
The fact that you know that.
I don't. Is that real?
If
Out
you
of
cook it
character.
if you cook it correctly after it's been smoked, it becomes so succulent that it falls apart.
I don't know. Any smoked meat that I've had is already so
Falling
succulent
apart.
that it falls apart.
Yeah.
If it's smoked correctly, you don't have to cook it a second time to get that effect.
I was about to say.
That's fair, but this is bullet meat.
But if you put it in a stew and let the stew juices soak in too,
Or
and
roast.
that smoky flavor releases into the stew.
Oh, can you imagine a smoked roast?
There you go.
Okay, I need
Ooh.
like
Now I'm getting
2 hours.
ideas.
Once we're getting really hungry, I need like 2 hours, and do we know where there's any water here?
Yeah, there's a big old lake.
Can you draw me about 4 gallons of water?
I'm sure that can be arranged.
Shouldn't we test the water first?
We can test it after I collect it. Duh. It's gonna straight up put our.
Time we encountered water.
I can fly. All I need to do is put the thing in the water, and then if something starts coming out, I can fly away.
I mean, did they draw the water? Did they draw the water from the lake, or did they have like a well around here?
I
Ah,
did not see a well.
That draws a different question. Where were they getting the water for the entire town? If it's just from a one lake at the top of a mountain?
What's this thing right here on the map?
One sec.
Because we would have passed this.
That is almost like a stone monument. It's just like a cluster of several different shaped boulders.
Okay.
You guys did not see a well inside of the city.
I mean, they had plenty of other magic, but figure drawing all of your water from a lake at the top of a mountain,
well,
probably gonna run out faster for a small culture like this.
well, unless they were using produced food and water. I do know
mean,
that's a thing.
That's possible, and they certainly had other stronger magics.
Yeah.
If it's literally just from the lake.
Crazy
Was
question, Jeb.
Mm-hmm.
When we were going through the house, did there look like there was any
Plumbing?
yeah.
Did we just find Rome?
You did see signs of plumbing.
No way.
I was wondering who was going to get the thought and make the connection.
So there's not a well, but the houses seem to be able to produce their own water, so you may not even have to go anywhere to gather your 4 gallons. You just cook where you're at.
That's...
What would one even call that?
I'll fucking take it.
What?
An
Called the
indoor
back
water
house.
well.
But
I mean, you know, we don't have anything like that back at the keep, but we do have our own water closets, so. I mean, there's only like 3 rooms with them, but it's still better than having to trek out into the snow to do your business. Let's set this up. Let's go through this.
so
Let's do our studies and get ready for the night.
Raiden drops
Trout.
all of it. No. No. He finds an empty table and offloads everything that he found in the houses. There is a set of half plate, looks to be made of mithril, some gems, some potions, a couple staves. Oh no, sorry,
Couple staves.
one staff.
One stab?
No, staff.
Yep, one stab.
Set of bracers, some barding for mounts or other beasts. A black metal ring with a raven crest on it. A beaded necklace. A smooth stone. And a little circular sapphire bead, which he walks over and sets in front of Warren and Sorla.
You're setting it on the table?
Yes.
As you set it on the table in front of Warren and Sorla, the two of you see a mummified body wrapped in linens appear on the table in front of you.
Oh, what?
Did it cover my book?
It's covering everything that you were able to see on the table itself.
She's gonna glare at him.
The
He's
thing's-
going to
thing
he's
still
gonna take-
works.
and pick back up the bead.
And the body disappears.
The thing still works?
This fucking thing was in the tomb where Vidar. I assume it was Vidar's tomb. Seemed to be his family home. The damn thing is empty.
That might not be him then.
But that answers one of the questions that we had originally posed for coming here.
So no dead body?
She's gonna hold up one of the books, the book that she's reading, and give him a kind of smirk. Oh, but we found more questions. Appears that Vidar is son of Pathos.
Oh boy.
Wait, what? I missed that part.
Vidar also has attachment to the Oracle.
Well,
Didn't you, when you were reading it, Elf, didn't you also say the Oracle took the eye with her over to that other place?
Sorla will pull out the scroll and she's gonna read through the entire scroll, since that's kind of a short read.
And I'm gonna unroll the map that I had found at the very beginning of this and point to where the other end of the mountains where that kingdom was. I think we know our next step. It's just we might have to go back around.
We definitely
We'll
can't
find
fly out.
Or maybe the way up that you were talking about, maybe that goes further. Maybe there's another way out of the city that doesn't involve flying and probably smashing into pointy bits on the top of the mountain.
Well, I can't fly over anyway. It's too fucking high.
That's kind of what I mean.
I wouldn't get
Also-
to the pointy bits, is what I'm saying.
I mean, the breath thing is one thing. There's a different point. Once you breach the top of the mountain, don't you lose the protection of not getting buffeted about by very high winds?
Oh, that's just where the fun begins.
Just getting to know you. I don't want to have to scrape you off the top of the mountain.
I mean, provided it's not a wall and I'm not drunk, I should be able to fly, no problem. The altitude really is what's killing me here.
well. Let's focus on what's in front of us first, and then we can worry about potential exit strategies.
Okay, put the scroll back in my bag, go back to reading my book as Warren does his thing.
Roll back up the map. Let's cracks his knuckles and pulls out his couple of books that helps him identify shit. Let's go to it.
Are you guys still in the library, or are you guys heading to one of the houses?
Still in the
Figured-
library.
Do this until it starts getting dark, then switch up, cook some meat, and actually like rest for the night.
Switch
Unless
off with
anybody,
Raiden can switch off with Warren once he goes to cook. Keep working on it.
Okay.
Kaylee's gonna get out the giant or the great axe and the ring that she found And she's gonna ask Sorla if she can identify them along with the 2 red potions. Since she's the smartest one in the group.
Totally missed that.
Or
She's
you gotta
bringing out a couple of things and putting them in front of you, considering that she feels you're the smartest one in the group, and asked you if you could help identify those.
Key words from Warren was she feels you're the smartest in the group. Anybody else notice that?
Listen,
Yeah.
we all have our strengths here.
Are they magical? Can I tell?
Do you have the identify spell?
Nope.
So it was the ring and the great axe, did you say?
Yes, that have
And
magical
potions.
properties and 2 red potions.
So you can tell that they are magical.
Do I recognize any of these things from my history?
Make an arcana check.
Okay.
Because you are proficient in arcana.
Yep. Nat 20. Thank you.
Yes!
You are not able to make out what the weapon or the ring are,
Aww.
but the potions, you immediately identify as potions of healing.
Normal.
From the best that you can tell.
Okay. I'm gonna look
Bye.
over at her and those are the healing potions, but the other 2 items aren't things that I recognize. But Warren's doing some casting to identify some objects. He might be able to tell with his casting.
Thanks.
Not casting, he's researching. He's doing this the hard way.
I was going to say, I didn't think
Sorry, I
that.
thought he had identify.
No,
Yeah,
the
Oh.
think
the way
Warren
that you'd had
identified.
the way that you'd had us doing it before was, since we didn't have somebody who could, we do it through research. And
Yep.
the
And Raiden is
the
helping them.
thing of and the one thing of all of this of we believe her to be the smartest. Our rogues are the 2 that have the highest intelligence. Wasn't talking about me.
Raiden is actively
Let's
helping
see.
Warren research these items and spend time with some of them to see if they can figure out what they are.
We're pretty much going through a couple of the books that I have that we can read.
Alaxian is the most intelligent in the group.
Yep.
The second most intelligent is Kaylee.
Wait, what?
She has the second highest intelligence score.
That's shocking.
I was just going. I guess I was just going by the fact that the other 2 had been around more often, and that's why I was thinking of them.
Right?
But no, like, most of us are not intelligence-based characters. Well, half of us are not intelligence-based characters.
No, I'm definitely not.
I guess can I roll to see if I know anything that's on the table out in front of us?
We've got the materials. Take
You-
a crack at it.
If you don't have the identify spell, you're not going to be able to identify what the objects are through basic knowledge.
Well, fuck.
Might have it might, or the previous attempts might have a little more to do with Warren has studied these books so many fucking times, it's ridiculous. And Jeb needed a mechanic for us to be able to understand what the fuck we got.
Well, any of the items that you guys have come across before that you guys have known what they were, you guys bought. You guys have not actually attempted identifying any items that you have actually found before.
That's fair. I'm remembering what I'm thinking about now, and that was mostly alchemic stuff, which I have proficiency in, and that was why it made sense.
We can't identify them if we don't have the spell, but there is another way that we can identify each of the magical items.
Through research, which is what you were trying to do.
Yep. Can focus on one magical item during an short rest while being in physical contact with the item. At the end of the rest, the character learns the item's properties as well as how to use them.
So
Well,
technically, we could.
Where are you reading that from?
D&D Beyond, identifying a magic item. The identify spell is the fastest way to reveal an item's properties. Alternatively, a character can focus on one magical item during a short rest while being in physical contact with the item. At the end of the rest, the character learns the the item's properties as well as how to use them. Potions are an exception. A little taste is enough to tell the taster what the potion does.
Basically, it can be flavored as research for an hour, which
Right.
is the same amount as a short rest.
I can hear Bree just fine. I would suggest probably speaking up a little bit.
Also, maybe some of us have the volume turned down on her, because sometimes, like, I know specifically for some of us, I have to mess with the volume on us every time I have somebody come in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There are occasions when I cannot hear Serb at all, and there are some times where it sounds like he's yelling in my ear.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm
And
just. Hold on. Oh,
Really?
So
Really?
try again, Bree.
Raiden,
Hello,
with
can you hear me?
A little bit better. Okay.
Okay.
okay, so with those, I am going to go with the variant in that section. In a way, focusing on the items during a short rest, or essentially like researching, like focusing right on the items themselves, will reveal basic properties about it, but it will not reveal all of the properties for some more complex items. So, you guys are gathering around this table. Raiden has put the items that he has found onto the table. Kaylee has put the items that she has found onto the table. Max sets a staff, a lance, and a set of ring mail, which appear to be appear to have an odorless smoke rising from them.
Smoky.
Veril puts a potion, a yellow gemstone, and a scimitar, a signet ring, and a set of barding onto the table. Shardak puts an orb, a almost like sundial looking piece on the table. Alaxian puts a signet ring and a potion on the table. Those are all of the characters who are not present. I will let Anvir and Zeos describe your guys' actions.
I'm going to put a ornate dagger that, if anyone cares to look at, it is magical. I don't know what's up with it, but it's magical. A beautiful vial that I don't need, and one of the gold coins, just one.
Warren, like, just picks up the coin. I mean,
You see that it looks like a typical gold coin, but it is minted with a profile of a horned tiefling.
If I look at it, does it look like something I recognize?
No, it does not look like anything that you recognize.
Just for reference, we found thousands and thousands of those.
so it's very old means it's worth a different total to the right person. I can only really think of 2 people that anyone in our group are possibly attuned to that could make use of these and give possible trade. Puts it back on the table. One we're already all working for, and the other, well, they trained my fucking ass to be useful around here. So, if anybody else can think of somebody who can back this coin, we can deal with that bridge when we're about to burn it. I mean, cross it. Anyway, no,
Go ahead.
Go.
We're just gonna transition and ask Zeos what he was doing.
Watching everybody put stuff on the table.
Did you not find anything, Zeos?
Imagine he found mostly coin.
Most of the coin. A little gold chain with some pearls. Nothing of importance.
I mean, if it's anything you won't look at, we got the materials here to at least research it. You want to do it yourself, that's also fine. Borrow one of the books. Got a couple dozen here that'll help identify some of this shit.
It doesn't help that we can't really read the books.
I was talking about my books, not the books we found here.
Oh, well. Fair point.
Puts down, or like, points at the pile of books that's right next to him. Most of these are in common. I brought these. The ones on her table are all in this language, and fuck all if I can read it, so we split the difference. He does the research that we found, and I help research and help all of you research what we found.
Well, I can help with that.
Yeah. We got our own little table to ourselves. Let's do a research party.
Zeus will pull out a wand that he found. and put it on the table.
If you want to learn how to do the research, feel free. If you want to do something else, I'm not gonna stop you. He bridges his fingers and a couple more knuckles crack, and he slides one of the books over across the table, and then grabs one for himself and cracks it open, starts thumbing through, and picks up the first thing that happens to be in front of him, which is, out of the fucking 20 things that I heard.
Okay, that's fine. Give you a sec to take a look here. While you guys are beginning this process, we are going to go ahead and take a small break. We will return to your guys' research party in a moment.
Okay.
And we are back.
Okay, welcome back. So, you guys have all put the items that you found, with the exception of Zeas, who has only offered one of the items that he has found to the rest of the group. You guys have all put these items onto the table, and you guys are all working together over the course of the next 3 hours to try and identify as many of the items as you possibly can, or try to identify as much of the properties of the items as you are able to. So, with that, Raiden, what is the first item that you are trying to identify?
I'm gonna work on the black bracers with the erased images of arrows on it first.
Okay, so these black leather bracers have the images of arrows almost stamped into the leather. And inside one of Warren's tomes that he has from the Brotherhood, you were able to identify these bracers as bracers of archery, which provide proficiency. They require attunement, and they provide proficiency in longbow and shortbow, and you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls on ranged attacks made with such weapons.
Okay.
What is the second item that you are trying to identify?
The second one I'm going for is the smooth stone with the humanoid skull pierced by 3 arrows.
Okay. You are able to discern that this stone, the magical properties of it, does require attunement. Based off of the engraving on the stone, or the symbol that's on the stone. Using one of Warren's books, you're able to identify the symbol as the symbol of the Many Arrows tribe, which is an orcish, a long-standing orcish tribe. They're not necessarily prevalent in the world today, but throughout the last 1,200 years, they are an orcish tribe that was known for their bloodlust, and their warriors were feared across the land. And what is the third item you were trying to identify?
The black metal ring, the Raven Crest.
Okay, so this black metal ring bears the insignia of a raven crest. You were able to determine that the magical properties of this ring do require attunement. Do require attunement from a very specific type of person. You're not able to identify the magical properties of the ring itself, but you do find a copy of the crest in one of Warren's lore books that identifies it as the insignia of an entity known as the Dusk Queen, which above the table,
Fuck.
above the table, the Dusk Queen is what we are rebranding the Raven Queen of the Shadowfell as. Because we didn't, Tyler and I, at a suggestion from Fenris, didn't want to mix anything between the Raven King, who is the main point of focus in your guys' current campaign here, with the Raven Queen of the Shadowfell. So we have chosen to rebrand the Raven Queen as the Dusk Queen. While you are not able to identify the specific magical properties of this ring, you do get a feeling that the properties are beneficial and not a detriment.
Okay.
Okay. Warren, what is the first item that you
the
are
ring that
trying
I
to
found in that
identify?
book?
Okay. Yes, the one that has the silver vines. Yeah. Okay. You are able to identify that this is a very powerful magical item that requires attunement. However, excuse me.
Yeah.
You, outside of knowing that it is a powerful magical item, you are not able to determine any of the properties nor the origin of this ring at all.
Sure.
What is the second item you are trying to identify?
Figure out that leather apron and then help somebody with a third option.
Okay. Although you have never seen one before,
Mhm.
you have read descriptions and read tales of items similar to this. You are able to determine that the magic woven into the leather apron would protect you from potentially hazardous fluids and bile. And with the knowledge that it was next to a copy of um, the guide to creature harvesting, you're able to make the assumption that this leather apron would have been worn by a flencer of sorts, um, to protect their clothing and protect their items or worn items from any of those hazardous fluids while they were trying to harvest useful materials and components from creatures.
Hmm. This one's definitely going to be useful while I'm helping slice and dice the things that we take care of.
And you said you were going to be assisting on your third with somebody else. So we will.
Basically, who wants me to take something from their pile and
Correct.
look at it?
Correct. We'll come back to your third once we have gone through everybody else.
Fair.
Kaylee,
Yes.
what is the first item that you are trying to identify?
I'm gonna go with the gold ring or the gold band with the symbol of the shield, with its positive energy.
Okay. So this gold band does bear a symbol of a delicately carved shield, and it does radiate positive energy. There's no description of the ring itself inside of any of Warren's books. However, you are able to determine that the magical properties of the ring do require attunement to gain, and that since the ring is radiating positive energy, that the magical properties of the ring itself would be beneficial to whoever is attuned to it.
Okie dokie.
What is the second item?
The great axe. Not greater. With a rosewood handle that hums with magic.
This great axe, the magical properties of it do require attunement to gain, and you're able to tell that the great axe itself lends its power to aiding in your attacks to cause bigger and stronger axes. Uh, Bigger and stronger axes, bigger and stronger attacks, and damage. You do feel a almost almost rage uh, emotions emanating from the great axe itself.
Hmm.
And what is the third item?
My rug.
Okay. So this 5 foot by 7 foot carpet has all the telltale signs of a magical carpet of flying. You're able to determine that once once a ouch cat once a command word has been spoken, you can use this carpet to hover and fly, and it moves according to any spoken directions that you provide it.
Please call that the party rug so that we can have all the chests of the extra shit. Because having Shardak have to drudge everything around, that's just a better call. Put it on the rug.
It's not the biggest carpet of flying that is in the world, but it is pretty close.
The middle one.
Okay. Zeos, you only have one item that you have shown and shown to the group.
Except I wanted to work on the gold ring with the ruby phoenix
Okay.
that radiates positive energy.
So how are you going to focus on researching the gold ring in front of everybody else?
I just put the wand on the table for everybody to help identify. The other two items I was keeping to myself to identify for myself.
Right, but the in order to try to identify it, you're focusing on the magical properties of the ring, but also cross referencing with Warren's books, which are right there on the table and everybody is using. So my question is, are you trying to hide these items from everybody else? And if so, how are you doing that while trying to cross reference the books if you are trying to use that option at all?
I'm not hiding it. I'm
Okay.
just identifying it for myself.
Okay. All right. So this gold band ring embedded with an ornate deep red ruby, which is carved in the shape of a phoenix, does not match any descriptions in any of the materials that Warren has available that you're searching through. But you are able to determine that the magical properties of the ring do not necessarily require attunement, but require that the ring must be worn. And it does emanate a positive energy from it. You're not able to determine exactly what it is, but you can tell that nothing on the ring would cause you harm.
All right.
The second item,
The boomerang shaped like a lightning bolt.
okay, you're able to tell this one rather easily because it is mentioned several different times in a couple of the different books that Warren has. This is a storm boomerang.
All right. And then the third one would be the wand.
Okay. The wand is a little bit trickier because there are many magic wands in the world, and each one has a distinct but almost similar magical effect in the way that they are used. Um, but this particular wand has has a magical property to it that would hinder anyone who it is cast upon. It does require attunement, and you get the feeling that it would require an attunement by someone more adept in the arcane arts. Okay. Sorla, are you trying to identify objects, or are you trying to do some more reading?
I'm probably at this point going to be trying to utilize the older books to try to identify some of these items.
Okay. So, just so you are aware, even though you are able to read these older books, reading them is not something that is rather easy and quick to do. Just because the way that they are written, they are. Uh, you have not read any of the Lord of the Rings books, if I remember correctly, right?
It's like reading a law book.
For those who know it, these books are written similar to the Silmarillion. Um, for those who have not read them, if you have ever read a King James version of the Bible, it reads very similar to that. Very old grammar usage. Um, and it makes it rather slow for you to read. You're able to read it and eventually make out the general understanding of what it's saying, but several sentences here and there, you have to read it several times before you get the gist of what it is saying. So, in the 3 hours that you guys are spending to research these items, you don't find much that is able to help, but you do find a couple passages in excuse me, in the book on the history of Illyria that may identify a couple of the items. We'll just say items one and items two. Um, One of the items is a ring that seems to match the description of the ring that Warren has. It is a signet ring that was the official seal of the Knights of the Dragon Order and was originally gifted to the first leader of the Dragon Knights, an elf by the name of Valinar. And Valinar is spelled Valenarr.
Okay.
It does not go into detail about the magical properties of the ring, but it does give a description that seems to match the description or the characteristics of the ring itself. The second one doesn't the passage that you find in the book doesn't identify a ring itself, but it does identify the signet that is on the ring that Alexian has. The signet of a silver skull with red flames engulfing it. And the passage does identify this crest as the crest of Mortis Steros, one of the oldest tiefling, the oldest tieflings that were in the original clan of tieflings that founded the city of Illyrium. And that name is spelled Mortesteros.
Okay.
And then for your third item,
The amulet.
the amulet, yes. You find a passage that doesn't really describe the amulet itself, but it does describe the appearance of the amulet on the oracle that was, or the seer that was mentioned in the scroll that you have on the eye of the oracle, the seer that was mentioned, Zatara.
Mm-hmm.
She is mentioned again in the book on the history of Illyrium, and she is described as wearing an amulet that resembles this amulet, although it does not go into detail. At least from what you're able to determine from the brief amount of time that you have to pore over the passages inside of these books.
Okay.
Anvir,
I forget what we were going to be doing.
you have 3 items. You've got 3 hours that you guys are spending, and each hour you're able to work on identifying one item.
Well, I suppose I should do my 2 daggers and the ebony rod. Because why not?
Okay. So, the first dagger is a very common magical enchantment that is placed on weapons to reinforce them. This is a dagger +1.
Which dagger is that? The reinforced dagger?
Mm-hmm.
The dagger +1.
Yeah, it's the it's the reinforced magical dagger.
The ornate one, yeah.
The second dagger is also fairly easy to guess what it is based off of descriptions found in the books that Warren has. This is, since the dragon, the dagger is fashioned from the tooth of a dragon, you are able to determine that this is a dragon tooth dagger. And then the rod, although not magical in nature itself, it is finely carved out of ebony wood, and you can determine that you're able to use it as a spell casting focus. You are also able to determine that the rod lends aid to necrotic based magics. For this item, it is and I'm gonna butcher this, Mabaran Ebony Focus.
You didn't butcher it as hard as the captions did.
I forgot we're doing captions.
Ha ha. I just
So-
realized the other thing I'm gonna do.
That the spelling on that is Mabaran.
It's surprisingly good at spelling.
Well, good. At least it's good at something.
Got that one.
Max is actually able to determine all three of the items that he has. The staff does have a reinforcement that lends aid to the bonus, lends aid to attacks and damage from the staff. It does also have a magical enchantment that targets flying creatures. And through the research with Warren's textbooks, he's able to find that this is a Sky Blinder staff. The lance has the same magical reinforcement as what the dagger does for Anvir. It is a lance +1. And the armor matches descriptions of the smoldering armor. And it is a set of ring mail. Shardak is able to determine that the orb that he has is an orb of shielding, although he is unable to determine what the magic property of the orb of shielding is.
Obviously, it's offensive.
Is that the polished stone, or is that something
Yes,
else?
that's the polished stone.
That's Rocky.
The second item is, for lack of being able to properly describe it, because there's not much description to go off of in the item, is a chronolometer.
Let's do the time warp again.
And he does not have a third item for him.
You can do another third.
Just let him do the mithril half plate that I found.
Yeah, that one is pretty easy to determine using the books and resources available. That is a reinforced mithril half plate with a +1 bonus. Alaxian, with Sorla's help, is able to determine that the ring that he found is a Steros signet ring, but is unable to determine exactly what properties the ring has, although he can tell that it is eldritch in nature.
It's the ring with the triangle.
No, that's Veryl's ring. This is
Oh.
Alaxian's ring, the ring that has the skull with the flames. The potion that he has, this sweet amber-colored brew, he's able to identify as a potion of watchful rest.
He has a potion of weapon of warning.
I messed up
Pretty
something.
much. He does not have a third item. So
Hold on, Jem, because I'm messing something up here, because you're saying the ring with the skull is the ring you just described, but I had a description for that ring already.
Yes, he just added further to it.
Yes.
He just added to it further.
You found a description of the crest in the book on the history of Illyrium. This ring has that crest on it. So he is determining that it is a signet ring with the Steros crest on it.
So no additional information.
Correct. Other than he believes that the magical properties are eldritch in nature. And then he does not have a third item, so he is going to work on the just identifying the half plate that Sorla found as the mithril half plate. And then Veryl. He identifies the potion.
Which one?
His potion. He only has one. The potion that had the
Fingernail.
One that had the fingernail floating in
The
it.
same as the gray thick liquid?
See, I don't know where he got the gray thick liquid, because the notes that I took, he found 275 gold from the barracks. He found the potion, a gemstone, yellow gemstone, the scimitar, the ring, and barding. So I'm not sure where the thick gray liquid was coming from.
He may have just put the wrong thing down in there.
It's possible. But this potion has a transparent liquid, and floating in it is a fingernail. based off of descriptions in the books, he believes that this is a potion of giant strength, although he's not sure which giant it belongs to. Which that would
Jim.
lead Raiden to believe, since he has a similar potion, that would lead Raiden to believe that that potion may also be a potion of giant strength.
Both of them were taken from Jim.
The scimitar with the flame crossguard is able to be identified as a flame tongue scimitar. And the signet ring, he's not able to find any mention of what the crest may belong to or what it may represent, but he can tell that the magical properties of the ring require attunement. Excuse me. It is possible that the signet of the ring is one that has been lost to time, or may be found in some of the documents that Sorla and Warren have found. But Sorla, you're not able to find that ring by skimming through it. Sorry, not able to find the crest, the signet, not the ring. You guys have spent 3 hours researching.
Warren has one more item.
Warren does have one more item.
Anybody have one that they
You had an idea. What was your idea?
Oh, right. Back in the caves, something like halfway through, we found a magic shield and we never identified it. I'm gonna
Correct.
identify that.
You're able to identify this one rather easily. It is a sentinel shield.
The one with the eye on it that I was gonna steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to, but when you realized that it was a shield, you're like, fuck that, and you gave it to Warren, who put it in his bag of holding.
Orla's going to tell Warren what she read about the ring he has.
He's gonna turn around and go, "What?" with the ring on his thumb.
That
Right.
ring.
Oh, I got a fancy ring.
Me
I
too.
didn't
Isaiah
have-
holds up his hand with the ring with the phoenix on it.
Cheers.
Raiden takes the bracers that he had identified and tosses them to Ownbeer. Heads up, those are going to help you.
Sorla's gonna put the amulet on and tuck it away where it can't be seen.
That moment you forget to unmute your mic. Unver holds up the dagger +1. Do you want this this knife?
I'd be willing to take both of them off your hands, but if you're only willing to part with one, I'll take it.
I am partial to the dragon's tooth, but you can have the one that'll actually do some extra oomph.
Do you ever plan on actually using it?
Maybe.
Fair enough.
And he hands him the other knife because he doesn't want to throw it at his friend.
What was that scimitar with the flaming hilts? Or the hilt like points?
A flame tongue scimitar.
I might be able to get some use out of that.
Thorla's gonna look at him with this look of, really?
Yeah, I could.
You could. But you know, sharing works both ways.
Fish, the bracers are braces of archery.
Ah, thank you.
Farrell kind of looks at Zeos, kind of eyeballs Sorla and the comments she just made. Yeah, I think I'll hold on to this for a little bit. Unless you've got something that you might be willing to trade for.
I mean, I've got a wand on the table. I'm not going to be able to use that.
Does anyone want this
I don't know what it is, but...
I've got no need for wands.
What about an ebony staff? I sure as hell don't need this thing.
Actually, you might be the one that could use this the best, and tosses the shield about a foot away from him. Rest of us don't use them. You might be smart, but you also look like you use some armor, so maybe a shield would do you some good. And if not, we still have my bag. You know where I am at pretty much all times. I can continue to hold up most of our shit.
Alright, so we really don't know much at this point. We didn't really get anything out of that 3 hours out of the basic +1s and stuff. So
Think, well, you'll continuing to do things. I'm gonna head next door and start cooking. And he just grabs one of the chests from Shardak and just because he's not strong, but he's also not superiorly weak, so it's just dragging it by himself.
Would you like help carrying that?
If you won't,
I'm gonna help him carry that
Unless
because
you
that noise is awful.
basically we go next door, figure out the kitchen, and find a really large pot and start cooking for the group. Making the smoked bullet meat into something that is even more palatable for us by making it a large stew for us.
Slip, slip.
I'm gonna use 10 pounds of our meat for this.
Meaty.
Okay. Okay, so are you guys camping out here for the night? How long are you guys wanting to stay in the city before returning back to Altessi to report in?
Yes, we should make camp here tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really feel like going back in that cave just yet.
Okay, so you guys have camped out inside one of the larger, more extravagant houses in this district of the city. Um, Warren has utilized the indoor plumbing, which he is extremely surprised to find, and has cooked up this bullet meat, which you all find is rather delicious for the beast that it came from. As he has cooked and the way he has prepared this meat, the smoked meat, you find that it is rather juicy, rather tender, and it just kind of falls off and melts in your mouth. You guys decide to spend the night here inside of this house. There are not enough rooms for everybody to have a room together, but if you guys split into pairs, you are able to find enough rooms to sleep in pairs. And feeling rather secure inside the house, you guys are able to rest relatively comfortably. And that is where we are going to leave tonight's session. We will pick up in the morning in game next week, and we will continue following our group of adventurers. So, thank you all for watching and joining us in this session. We really appreciate you following us, and if you like the content that we have, please smash that subscribe button. And if you want to get in on the games yourself, join our server. That's the best and the only way to get in on the games outside of watching it and enjoying the story that we are telling together. So please join our server. We are excited to play with you, play the games with you, and build your characters along with the lore of the world. So, with that, my players, I'd like you all to get an opportunity to wish them all good night. If you guys have any comments you'd like to add, please feel free to do so at this time.
Good
Night,
night.
everyone.
Go. Okay. Uh, we have games running at least 3 nights a week. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Please watch us, enjoy us, engage with us. Come join the server. Come play with us. We want to tell these stories together. In the meantime, I hope you're enjoying yourself now. Good night.
Okay.